Yeah, settle down.
They're not getting Lunchables. Having connection issues, Ms. Justice? Let me go get your. I'll go get them just in case. There's some stuff in executive content, so you're gonna wanna make sure you have.
Okay, all right, so, y'all ready to start, or you wanna wait till you get your tech stuff fixed?
We're gonna have to probably follow
Well, there's stuff in the,
it's a one pager.
the admin side that you need to see.
I was freaking out. I found out why I was.
I trust you.
We'll call today's meeting to order. All please rise for a moment of silence. Please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, board, has everybody had the opportunity to look at the agenda? And can we have a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have an agenda. So our first item is special program, The Way.
Sir. So, Mr. Chair, members of the board, tonight we have with us the teachers and students of the WAY program. And this is quite a wonderful program, so we wanted to highlight this. I know that we've talked to you about this a little bit before, but I'd like to call teachers Shannon Wentz and Michelle Harvey up to the podium, and they will introduce the students and talk to you about the program.
Oh, good evening. My name is Michelle Harvey. I'm a teacher at Amherst County High School. And this is Shannon Wentz. She is the transition coordinator for our county. I specifically work with the WAY, Amherst County's transition program for the adult students. And we just completed our second year, and it was a success. And we have Xavier Franklin, Tayshawn Franklin, Asia Jackson, and Will Vire, who would like to share about the successes of their year. You may come speak.
Hey. Away. Away, Pastor. Away, Pastor. Away, Pastor. Parker. Away, Pastor.
Program overview. The WAY is an individualized transition program designed for postgraduate students aged 18 through 22. Students typically have or will be soon receiving an applied studies diploma. Core mission. Our focus is on empowering students by increasing employment skills, fostering independence, classroom-based instruction, and community-based training.
School-based jobs. Training for school counseling. Feeding the fresh in the courtyard. Coffee shop. Working in the school shop. Cafeteria support during the remodel. Senior breakfast. Helping to host. At-risk volunteer for teens. Library care, dusting and vacuuming.
This is us doing our school-based jobs.
This is us doing more school-based jobs. Regular internships. University of Lynchburg Dining Services, Briar Patch Restaurant, and Waymaker Church.
Make the church.
This is us at University of Lynchburg.
Me,
This is
Brian,
us at Briar Patch.
I love tails.
Joey.
Job shadowing and volunteer sites. Liberty University, Lynchburg Groves, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, Lynchburg and Amherst Humane Society, Food Lion, Cravables, and Hat Creek Camp.
This is us community.
This is 4 pictures of us going out in the community.
Independent living, shopping and budgeting for classroom supplies, housekeeping skills, ordering and paying for meals at restaurants, meal prep, caring for classroom pet, hygiene, community safety, and social skills.
This is us being independent.
Me, Barry. Me, Barry. In the classroom.
And this is more pictures of us being independent.
Joey.
Thank you to our partners, Briar Patch Restaurant, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, Waymaker Church, Lynchburg Grows, Food Line Amherst, University of Lynchburg, DARS, RSVP, Creative Code Designs, Cravables, Hat Creek Camp, Lynchburg and Amherst Humane Society, Teachers for Tomorrow ACHS, and Liberty University.
The Way Merce. If you're interested in supporting the Way program, please get you sir. You can order for Creative Code Design website.
So before you guys walk away, I have a question. Of the various jobs that you guys have done, what are your favorites? What do you like doing the most?
Yeah, I have put the big cups in the bag.
Put the fruit cups in the
Fruit cups in
bags
the
for
bag.
Neighbors Helping Neighbors.
There you go.
And so, it's Joey Wood.
All right. How about the rest of you?
And some coffee for students.
Good coffee for students? Okay.
Hey, I sent the find me.
Going out community.
Mine was, we're interning at Briar Patch.
Briar Patch? Okay.
No, I help. I get the steering wheels.
That's awesome.
Can we get a picture?
Yes.
Absolutely. Can we get y'all up here for a picture?
Yeah.
Briar Patch. I love my Briar Patch. Absolutely. I like Briar Patch.
I'll walk around with that.
Slide down just a little bit. There you go. Yep, perfect.
All right, everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. Good job.
Absolutely.
Before she does that, I just found out this afternoon that Will was hired at McDonald's, and he is now employed. And that was one of his big goals.
Come on up to, ma'am, come on up to the mic.
Yeah. Thank you.
What was that?
Good evening. My name is Kim Vire, and I'm Will's mom. I would just like to say this has been the absolute best program that could have ever happened to Amherst County High School. I tell everybody that I see and ask about Will, and I tell them that he has done this amazing program through the school, and I hope that you guys will continue this in the future. There's nobody like her and Ms. Wentz. And I just think they're amazing people. They put their heart, everything into it. They go above and beyond what they should for these kids. And I just want to say thank you all for allowing this program to come in. And Ms. Wentz and Ms. Harvey both need a raise.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'd like to thank the WAY program, but I'd also like to let you know, Mr. Neighbors and I actually, the last week of school went over, and the students did a presentation. Each of them had to do a presentation on their jobs and what they did through the year, and just a fantastic job that the teachers and the students did, and it's just another example of every child, every day.
Thank y'all. All right, moving on to public comment. No one has signed up for public comment, but is there anyone that would like to come and address the board at this time?
Thank you all. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
I did good.
Yeah. All right, so counting my 6 Mississippis, I don't see anyone coming to address the board. So public comment's now closed. Takes us to 4.01, action items. Reorganize the Amherst County School Board for the period of August 26 through December 2026.
Okay, so this reorganization of the will be for the remainder of the 26 calendar year, effective August 1. When Dr. Shepard officially starts, the board can make one motion to approve items A through C as presented.
A through C or 1 through 3, or no?
A through C,
Oh.
sir. Authorize myself, the associate superintendent, as the superintendent designee, to authorize me, the associate superintendent, as a designee to sign reports, and then appoint Dr. Shepard as the deputy clerk. And this will all take effect on August 1, sir.
Yeah. Board, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, just for the public's awareness, so A is to authorize Tim Hoden, Associate Superintendent, as the superintendent's designee, while the superintendent is unable to do so. B is to authorize Dr. Hoden, Associate Superintendent, as designee, to sign reports in the absence of the division superintendent. And C is to appoint Dr. Melody Shepard as the deputy clerk. So we have a motion, a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, 4.02, discuss and consider approval, proposed revisions to the Amherst County School Policy Manual.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve from memo A, AE, AF, BCA, CBCA, CH, EEAD, EGAA, JFCD, JHC, JJAG, JLB, JOHGEA, JS, KKA, KP, and KPA. Do you want me to go to the other memos as well and just put all of the approvals in one?
Yeah, let's put them all in one if we can.
All right, that's
and then
Okay, sure.
what we'll do is we'll approve those, and the others we will send to the policy committee.
Yes,
Sounds
sir.
good.
So if you'll
Okay,
finish your motion,
so-
please.
GABIIBE, actually, not that one, strike that one. Approve the ACPS policy GAE, GAH, GCBEA, GCG, GEAJOH as presented, and IC/ID, IGAJ, IGBC, IGBG. Just want to check something. IIAA, ILBC, and IK.
And all others will go to the
To
policy committee?
policy committee. And all others will go to the policy committee.
Okay, board, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Everybody else okay with those being passed? All right, no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so.
All right, Mr. Chair, I'll work with Ms. Justice and Mr. Childress to get the policy committee, and hopefully we will be able to meet in order to bring these back to you in August for approval.
All right, so that brings us to 4.03.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, for 4.03, I'd like to propose a plan to you regarding the additional 1% funding we received from the state budget for staff raises. As you know, the board previously approved 3% salary increases for all employees. The adopted state budget allocated funding for 4% raise for all SOQ positions. I'm proposing that we utilize the additional 1% funding that we received to increase the teacher salary scale and the salary scales for our transportation department to include the bus drivers, assistants, van drivers, mechanics, and substitute drivers. The school board identified improving teacher salary competitiveness as a priority during this year's budget discussions. However, the budget constraints prevented us from addressing it at that time. Please note, this will require us to request additional funding from the Board of Supervisors at their July 21st meeting. You have the information in place comparing the current approved salary scales to the proposed salary scales. I would like to thank Ms. Zukonich and Ms. Davis for their work on this proposal. We also have a PowerPoint. So you have at your place this, which the first page shows you a very quick comparison as to where we were in the 6 local school divisions and then where this proposal would put us. The second page is a side-by-side of what those figures are. And at the bottom, there's a little key to the color for where we were on there. And then the last page is the transportation salary scales, which we would present to help with our bus drivers. As you know, we had several bus drivers that retired at the end of the year, and hopefully this will help us in that to raise some more applicants for the bus drivers. If you'll put your attention to the PowerPoint just for a second, just have a real brief PowerPoint for you. So the proposed scale changes. If you'll note, this is kind of the same information, only different. So the proposed teacher pay scale ranking comparison. If you'll note, on the left, that's the current teacher pay scale, and the right is the proposed teacher pay scale that with the extra 1%. I'd like to really note at the bottom, on the left, in this model, 60% of our steps are projected to be ranked 4th, 5th, and 6th among neighboring school divisions. With this additional funding, 60% of our steps will be projected to be ranked 1st, 2nd, and 3rd among the neighboring schools. This is a pretty big step. So I think it's very critical. It's work that we really wanted to do in our budget hearings. This was partially what we really wanted to do to get our teachers' salary scale up there. It's a very important tool for our HR department when they go recruiting, and really to have that not only the starting salary, but for all our teachers. So I feel like this is an excellent way to get that up using that extra percent. And again, Kim and Monet really worked hard on these percentages to make this work. So I'd like to thank them for that, but that shows where we would be, and I think that says a lot, 60% from fourth, fifth, and sixth to 60% first, second, and third.
Dr. Hoden, if I may, one thing, just to make sure the board's aware of, is that these percentages of increase, right, or moving from rankings right now is somewhat of a guess, because some of the school divisions
Right.
have not published their new pay scales for the upcoming year. And so we're basing it off of us changing their pay scale to match what the increase they said they're going to give. But many are kind of in the same boat we're in, that they didn't realize they were going to get the additional percentage. So they may also go back and change what they're doing as well. So just want to be totally transparent, because we're saying we're going to move us and put us in a much better situation, which I'm totally for, right? But there is also a possibility they may also make some of these moves that will better them again, right? And we'd kind of be back in the same boat.
Right. Well, in my superintendent's meeting on Monday, a couple divisions shared with me what they were doing, and we used what they, what they said. And so, but again, you're exactly right, Mr. Childress. That's why we didn't publish it. We can't publish something that, that hasn't been published. However, one division did publish, correct, Kim? Not that they couldn't change it, but so this information is based on proposed that we do. So at the same time, regardless, it's still a step in the right direction.
100%.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and you said it, but I just want to make sure the board hears this very clearly. This does not affect anyone at central office or any other admin. It's strictly teachers
And
on the teacher
transportation.
scale and the bus driver scale.
And there's the proposed transportation pay scale. Again, not a lot, but it does, for the bus assistants, give them a jump. The van drivers, the bus drivers, and our bus mechanics. We currently have 1.5 bus mechanic positions open. Again, same thing. So we're really trying to raise those as well, to try to attract some more candidates for those. The anticipated cost and funding availability. You'll note the teacher pay scale adjustment, including estimate and benefits, is $338,000. Transportation pay scale adjustment, including estimated benefits, is $40,000. So the total cost is $378,000 for that. And again, that includes bus drivers, bus assistants, van drivers, mechanics, and substitute drivers. And then down below, the state provided funding for a 4% average for SOQ, and the adopted budget allows for a 3% to all staff, and then this is the additional percent. So the administration recommends the remaining 1% of the state funding to target these pay scales, which is $241,785. And then we would then request additional funding from the Board of Supervisors in the amount of $136,215. We originally thought it was going to be $200,000, and then we told them around $150, $140. So we actually were able to shave it even a little bit more. Ms. Lukanich, anything you want to add to that?
No, I was just going to add, but Mr. Childress said it, is just that these are moving targets as far as what the other divisions are doing. But this is definitely a step in the right direction to get more competitive. When I was looking at what was posted from last year to the current based off the adopted budget, we are definitely losing ground, and the amount of number 6 places has been increasing.
So hopefully we can get the consensus to move forward tonight, and I will present this on July 21st at the Board of Supervisors meeting.
So, well, I think we'll take it a step further. I mean, if it's the board's pleasure, we're going to vote on it, I would think.
Sure.
That way we can take care of it. So if the BOS approves it, then you
Yes,
guys
sir.
already have your marching orders rather than do a consensus. Board, you've kind of heard the presentation. What's your thoughts? What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, a question. Do we know, has the county completed their audit yet?
They have not.
Okay.
And that is certainly part of the conversation. Obviously, I've been talking with the chairman for the board of supervisors, and that's certainly a concern. But they also understand, our need to help our teachers. And essentially, if we turn this down, if we say we don't want to do this 1%, then we're essentially sending back to the state, nearly $250,000, $241,785.
Well, not only that, we're telling our teachers that, they're not as important as we've been saying they are, in my opinion, so. I don't think that's something that we can continue to say.
Right, and that's why this is important.
It is
right?
important,
And
absolutely.
this is something that this board has talked about. This is since I've been on this board, right? Every budget season, we talk about we need to increase these pay bands, these scales for our teachers, and it always gets pulled back because we don't have the funding. This is an opportunity for us to do it, and with as little assistance as we could possibly do from the county. Essentially, the state's going to give us $250,000, the county's going to give us $137,000 potentially, right? If they approve it. So,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes. So, what a budget season it was, and I know throughout that budget season, and I just want to refresh everybody's understanding online and people who may come to this video later. When the state gives us a budget and they say they want teachers to have a 4% raise, can we break that down for the audience of what it means as far as funded teachers and non-funded teachers, so they understand that this isn't money that we just get from the state that covers all teachers? Because I
You're
know
talking about SOQ positions?
Right, because I've gotten a lot of phone calls, emails, and people just don't understand that if the state says we have X amount of teachers, then why do we need any more money? And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. And I'd like to be able to refer them back to this video and say, hey, look, this is exactly what this means. This is how many teachers the state funds. This is how many teacher positions we have, just so everybody is on the same
So
page.
I'll tackle the initial part of it, but then someone much smarter than me probably needs to finish it up, Mr. Gallagher, perhaps. So just to give you an example, and I know this from my world in technology, like technicians, technical staff are SOQ funded, right? And so in Amherst, I think we have a total of 4 technicians, right? But the SOQ funding, I think, is for 2.53 or some crazy fraction of a number, right? Well, you can't have 0.53 of a person, right? And beyond that, if you looked at the SOQ numbers for that, you could not support this division with the number of schools we have, the number of students that we have, with, even if you rounded it to 3, rounded up to a full 3 technicians, there is absolutely no way you could provide the level of support that our educators need and our students need in order to adequately facilitate the use of technology and instruction. Mr. Gallagher, would you please add to that? He may need assistance with his microphone.
The other $0.25%.
In essence, you're correct. Oh, yeah, that's fine. All right. I'll just hold it if that's okay. Actually, it's very well stated. In essence, we're not, our needs are not fully met by the SOQ standards of the state. So they outline what they believe, we need or they'll provide for to meet our needs. And it's, like you said, with technicians, it's also principals, assistant principals. It's many positions throughout. They determine what they feel like they will provide you for the size of your division. And I believe, and I might need assistance from Mr. Conch, I think it's about 2/3, somewhere around that range, of what we really need to run a division. So you gave a great example of where we may need, we have 4, and they may give us 2.3 in the area of a technician. There are certain situations where they won't even fund, necessarily a full principal position or not an AP position where an AP position is needed. So I think you spelled it out very correctly. That's been the case for a long time. We're just not fully funded. So SOQs for any division don't provide you full funding for what the real needs of a division are to run a school system, if that's helpful. I hope that's explaining it properly. So.
Yeah, so knowing that, and so when we have to go back to the Board of Supervisors and tell them we need extra funding to fund all of the teacher positions, I want everybody to understand it's not that we're not using the state funds, but the state funds don't cover every teaching position. So we have to go back to the Board of Supervisors. Now, my next question, well, just comment, was I remember during the budget season, not this year, the past year, we were able to give the teachers a raise, and there was some conflict within the county because not all county positions got raises. And they had asked us not to do that this year. And that, they're the ones that came to us and wanted a 3% for teachers. And now when we come to the state budget and they say 4%, will the county make that up for county employees? Or are we still gonna run into that where the teachers got more than the county again this year?
Actually got some more funds too, and I believe they're going to be at 3.5%.
All right, so just so that the board's aware, that was a conversation that happened during this budget season, so I don't know where the Board of Supervisors is gonna sit, but I know our decision tonight would be to do what's right and give our teachers what they deserve. That's all I had. I just wanted to throw some stuff out there.
Ms. Justice?
Mr. Chair, would it be safe to say that SOQ is the minimum, basically what the government says that they will
Honestly, I wouldn't
fund?
even say it's the minimum. I'd say it's the level of funding the state's willing to pay.
But-
Because if you said we wanted to, if we could not educate our students based on SOQ funding alone.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
so that's not even a
But
minimum.
it's- But for
less than
them,
minimum.
that's what they're saying. And here in Amherst, we're making certain that what is necessary is there, in that it's not, the benefit is not going to just who the state says is essential, but who Amherst says is essential, which is all their teachers.
Correct. And now there's certain requirements, right? So you do have to meet a certain level of those funds going to SOQ positions. And so we, Ms. Laconich and team have vetted it to make sure that we are meeting those requirements for the funding. We don't have total choice to just decide, ooh, we're going to give those all the additional funding to this group of people, right? So there are requirements that are met, which is, I think it's a majority of the SOQ positions have to be funded through that process. And so we're meeting that by doing it with the teachers. Any other discussion? All right, does the board, at this time, does anyone have a motion, or what is the pleasure?
Does it have to be that we are amending the budget, or how do we present this?
Yeah, how we say it.
How is it said?
It's a good question. I think what we would do is we would need to present a motion to amend our current budget to reflect the proposed pay band changes as presented.
To
That would
reflect the
affect
1%.
the 1% for teachers and bus drivers.
Help with someone to type that out.
Well, I can make the motion
Okay.
if it's the pleasure of the board.
What he said.
Yeah.
Typically, the chair does it, but I can. Yeah, I want to make sure it's, that we're all,
We're amending an approved budget.
Yes.
That's why I want to make sure that we got things straight there, so.
yeah.
Mark, David.
All right, so I will make a motion that we amend our approved FY27 budget to reflect the 1% additional pay increase for the teacher pay scale as presented and the bus driver / mechanic pay scale as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any additional conversation? So the only thing I would add to that is that even though we approve it, it still will be pending the Board of Supervisors approving that additional $136,215 ask. If they don't, then this is dead in the water.
Correct.
Okay? All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, so it takes us to the consent agenda. Any questions about anything in the consent agenda? Is there a motion?
Motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, consent agenda's approved. Information items, instruction, accountability.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We have continued to peel back the layers of all of our data and have another data set for you this evening. Thank you, Ms. McNerney. All right, so get into it. Our typical caveats here. So obviously this is still our local calculations. VDOE hasn't released anything yet. We won't see that data from them for quite a while still, but wanted to keep the board updated as we are continuing to look into the performance of our students and working with our administrators and school teams to help understand that data and what it means. Again, as a reminder, we don't have inclusions yet for things like recovery or growth in this data set. So we're really looking at that raw data where our students were with passing that SOL or not. Just like with last month's data, we broke this out by content area. For this chart, what you'll see in each of these columns, so in column 2, that is our initial take pass rate. So first time through, it does include our students with disabilities that participate in the Virginia Alternative Assessment Program because that is their first take. What their SOL is counted the exact same as our general education students participating in those end of course assessments and SOLs. So that is the unvarnished, unretake. That's the percentage of where students were that first time around. And number eligible, that third column, that's the number of students that fell in that range just shy of passing the 375 to 399. Retakes passed, obviously that is the number of students that were successful with that retake, our overall success rate within the retake realm, and the overall impact raw pass data is our final column there. The consistent theme that you'll see across these 4 slides this evening, and I think it's safe to say that there's a lot left on the table in regards to our retakes and students that were participating in that particular opportunity. A lot of different factors, a lot of different things come into play when you're thinking about students that are participating in these retakes. That is occurring right there at the end of the year, so they would take that in the case of reading. That was their first SOL or end of course that they took. They would have also been participating in other SOLs or end of course assessments after completion of this and then receiving remediation for the retake on English in particular. What we're doing and what we're continuing to do, I should say, is talking with our administrators and school teams to continue to unpack what that process looked like. As you'll see, which we don't have in the public presentation this evening, but in board docs, we have a school by school breakdown. We had some schools that were much more successful in this area than others, and continuing to evaluate how they were able to utilize this opportunity to get our students, or more of our students, I should say, across that threshold of passing the assessment. All in all, and again, we'll see this over all 4 content areas this evening. There was quite a bit of opportunity that we weren't able to capitalize on with the retakes that our students were able to qualify for. So for math, again, you'll see some similar results here in regards to where our students landed. This one in particular, so when we're thinking about how that remediation went, a lot of emphasis has been placed on some of those upper elementary and into middle school math areas where we had much larger numbers in regards to students that were qualifying for retakes, and really starting to dig into why that impact was not there. We know the time was there. We know they were able to work with those teachers, continuing to dig into what exactly it was that didn't quite land for some of those kiddos. Again, a lot of factors that can play into it, but this is a data set that we will continue to discuss with teams and continue to get that feedback from administrators as to how this can be something that we can take better advantage of as we're going forward into next year. Science was our most stark area here in regards to overall success rate. This one I think probably surprised me the most, just knowing personally the amount of time that went into remediation, particularly as we're thinking about in that high school biology, tremendous amount of effort went into that remediation effort after SOLs came through. So we know the time was there. The staff worked very hard with that, just getting those students across the finish line. Didn't quite get to where we need to. We do have, I should have noted this earlier, a fair number of students in this data set that opted not to participate in retakes. Another area of emphasis we're talking to administrators and school teams. How can we better sell that in regards to having those conversations with families and making sure we're allowing students to take advantage of those opportunities as they are available. History was actually a bit of a surprise for me. So given what we saw in regards to overall performance, didn't expect history to be one of our stronger areas with retakes, but compared to math and science, certainly stood above in regards to overall success rate and what we're able to do, getting those students back in and completing that retake. Despite those low percentages, we still did get those bumps off of retakes being completed. But again, this is something that we're going to be spending a lot of time with, and safe to say we're going to be looking for ways to not leave quite as much on the table as we're moving forward into next year. So before I get into some of our other projections we have this evening, I just wanted to stop there for a moment and answer any questions the board might have.
Dr. Neighbor.
Yes, sir.
I'm not exactly sure, but that's why I'm asking the question.
Yep.
Eligible. What does that mean? Does that just simply mean they didn't pass, so they're eligible to take it?
Yep.
Or do they have to reach a certain threshold to be eligible?
Threshold, yes, sir. So students that didn't pass it on the first attempt scored somewhere between 375 and 399. They were eligible for that quick turnaround retake, that expedited retake.
All right.
Mr. Neighbors, how do these numbers compare to the previous numbers that you shared with us?
Yes, sir. So the previous numbers we shared in June, when we're looking at that end, that's where we're looking at that last column there. So we included those retake numbers and that's seeing the effect of that at the end. So that first column, or I should say column 2 in these particular charts, that really gives that true first take look, right? How did our students do right out of the chute? First time they looked at that assessment. That's that raw as it can get from a number standpoint.
So looking, I guess my takeaway from that is looking at history. So back in June, you presented 42%. And what we're looking at today is 46%?
No, the
Or
opposite
57.
there. So we look back in June was 57, the first take. So
Okay.
without the retakes involved, it's the 42. That's the new data today.
I gotcha, okay. Oh, okay, before retakes, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, hard with this data set. I know there's a lot of nuance to it for sure, but really wanted to be able to dig back in. It's great that we have that opportunity to do retakes. Our goal is going to continue to be making sure students are prepared to take that assessment, pass that assessment right out of the chute, first time they're looking at it. So wanted to make sure that we were sharing that data with the board.
And so, you know, I asked this question a lot. So we've evaluated, or, you know, I guess, I hope we've spent the summer evaluating our plans, processes.
Yes, sir.
From this previous year and are prepared to adopt new processes.
Yes, sir.
That's gonna, you know, hopefully continue to move that needle in a positive direction.
Yep. Continue to look at scheduling is a big piece of this. So making sure that we are very intentionally working with schools, not just to schedule the first takes, but we're looking at with retakes and providing that cushion to do that.
Well,
That's going to be a big
I'm talking
piece
more of the instructional side of things.
Yes, sir.
You know, meeting those instructional needs of the students so that we don't have to worry about retakes.
Yes, sir. I got you.
We want to get them
100%.
to get it on the first go. So can you give us just a small taste of what type of things you're looking to implement in the coming year that's going to help keep moving us along in a positive direction? What are we going to do different this year than we've done in the previous years.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a couple of key pieces there, and I've got some emerging things later in the presentation as well to be able to dig in even further. The conversations we're having quite literally today and then into next week with administrative teams, checking in on where we are with process and rebooting for the coming year. A big component of that is going to be continuing to lean into our HQIM. We've already seen some bumps with that. Whereas to ELA, math is that next piece that's coming on board. We do expect that to be a positive impact. How we lean into that, how we roll that out, how we plan for instruction, all of that is going to look new and different as we're getting into the school year. And we expect that to have an immediate impact, just like we've seen that impact with our ELA HQIM coming on board.
Right, even with HQIM though, the initial impact wasn't good because they were learning it. Right, it really took that, didn't it take that second year before we really saw any improvement?
We definitely saw that first year bump as well, which is a little
Okay.
bit unusual for HQIM. I think to your point, we don't typically see that. We actually saw that with HMH this year with just 1 year in. We'd seen it previously with Open Court as well with that. So we do expect that with math too, which again, that's K through 12. We do expect that to be a positive gain. A lot of what we're talking to administrators about and procedures and processes that we're trying to revise, making sure we're maximizing that time. So thinking about collaborative planning, thinking about what we're doing with our PLCs and data analysis, working with the administrators to make sure that is very specifically tailored to the needs of their teams, rolling that out in a way that's going to make more sense for the needs of those students and what we're trying to work through. Planning is going to be our big piece this year, pulling back from traditional lesson planning just to lesson plan models. How are we building in more and more of those collaborative opportunities so our teachers can be supporting and working with each other to a maximum extent, being able to move all of that instruction forward the way that it needs to, particularly we're talking about science and history where we don't have those HQIM on board just yet. So a lot of pieces that are going to be able to come together and work together to be able to move us forward. Those are individual conversations that we're having with each administrative team here over the next couple of weeks to make sure they've got all that locked and loaded, ready to go for the start of the year.
Ms. Justice.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Neighbors, so where are the teachers in this process? Because they're the ones that are having to implement it, and how are we getting their feedback? I heard you meeting with administration and stuff, but.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's always our first line, especially from the division standpoint. We want to make sure we're understanding not just data trends, looking at it from a distance, but the day-to-day in regards to what that looks like in each individual building. Our team has spent a tremendous amount of time in buildings this year, being able to participate in process, talk to those teachers. A lot of that information comes through administrators, but a lot of that is also our primary knowledge and experience with those teams in those various buildings. When we're rolling out new initiatives or making changes, all that is based on those experiences. We're having the feedback we're getting directly from the staff that's doing that on a day-to-day basis. So right now in the planning process, primarily engaged with administrators, but that process has been ongoing throughout the year to review and make sure we're doing the right things with our overall procedures. All right. Well, I'll keep on rolling. So one of the pieces we have for y'all this evening, we did a little work with the crystal ball and tried to make some projections in regards to our framework scores. As the board will recall, very recently we've gotten some new structures from the state in regards to how they rate us, how they determine where we are in regards to being distinguished, being on track, off track, all those different things that we talked about last fall. So what we've done this evening is put together our best guess for where we think we're going to end up when this data comes to us, hopefully in September or maybe October. So for the board's reference, what we have in columns 2 and 3 is what we received last fall based on our 24-25 data. Columns 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are our best guess for where we're going to end up when we get that data coming to us in September or October. A couple of caveats I wanted to put in place here. There's an asterisk for the number as well as the rating for the high school. There's a tremendous number of factors that go into making that determination. I don't know what the next layer above crystal ball is, but that's what we had to go to kind of get some of those and make sure that we were looking at the way that we need to. But right now we still project them to be maintaining that distinguished rating. The big pieces I wanted to highlight for the board as we're going through, first and foremost, Central Elementary School, a 10-point jump on the framework score is tremendous. Represents a lot of work done by the staff in that building. Dr. Profit and his team, I cannot emphasize enough how tremendous that is. It's the very first thing that Dr. Shepard noted when we met last week. seeing that, it's just a very unusual bump in 1 year like that. So just wanted to give those kudos to that team there at Central Elementary School. Also saw some very similar bumps at some of our other schools. Amherstdale jumped by 8 points, Elam by 6. Amelon, that was a very important 4 points, getting them over that threshold into on track, and very, very excited to see that. A couple of schools had some modest bumps. We had a couple of schools that are either going to hold steady or come down just a little bit. Again, that's based on our projections. We're going to see where the state is when they roll out in the fall. But all in all, very encouraging. We want to continue to see those ratings on track and distinguished. If we're continuing to move that direction, that means our pass rates and the overall comprehensive view of how our students are performing is following along where we want to be. I told Dr. Profit I wasn't going to do it, but I did want to highlight for Central in particular that 79.7. 80 is the threshold for on track, so they are right there. Very excited to make that move for next year. I do believe Dr. Profit is hoping our math was just a little bit off and they can find 0.3 of a point somewhere for him up there in Richmond. That's right. So all in all, some very good pieces there, and we will wait to see how our math matches up with the state when they come down in September. And again, happy to answer any questions about that before I move on.
So I just do have a question. I was just
Yes, sir.
thinking, because you guys have been presenting to us each board meeting the mastery of standards, and where we have the kind of the stoplight thing that we've been looking for. And each meeting we saw less in the red, kind of moving red, yellow, green, right? It's as you move to the left, numbers get higher each board meeting. And so we saw this trend where it looked like things were going really well. How do we translate that, though, based on the actual results that we saw from our SOL results?
Yeah. So to me, as we're talking about that red, yellow, green, the monthly report that we bring to the board, seeing that progression in the content, mastery of standards, do we see students responding to instruction and moving forward? Absolutely played out. Again, I'm not trying to say that we were where we wanted to be. I think all of us are in agreement that we want those scores to be higher. When we see those increases in pass rates, when we see those strong percentages of students that are demonstrating growth, that to me is that connection. We're responding to instruction. We're moving forward quite literally student by student. That's what you see play out in these framework scores. So I know there's a little bit of dissonance maybe between some of the scores and percentages that we had versus seeing framework scores go up. This is really that holistic view of how our students are performing. This is taking into account whether or not they grew. This is taking into account not just whether they passed, but how they passed, how close they might have come to passing. So this, to me, is that more comprehensive approach to how our students are responding to instruction and whether or not they're moving forward.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is that report really indicative of the progress that we're hoping to see? Right, because as a board, when I get that and I look at it and I see continuous progress, I'm happy, right? Because I see things, it looks like it's going in the right way. And then when we get our results at the end, and it's not it's not a comparison anymore, right? We were seeing really good results. And then, because if you take the yellow and the green and kind of average that, that's what you would expect your pass rate, because you don't expect everybody in yellow to pass, right? Because that's why they're in the yellow. But you expect everybody in the green to pass, and then a fraction of the yellow, and maybe even a small percentage of the red.
Potentially. Yeah.
Right? Potentially. But we don't see that comparison. So my question is, are we measuring the right things, right? Because how is it that when we look at our monthly report and we're seeing progress, but then when it comes to the time to do the real test, we're not getting those same results.
Right. So it's going to be a little bit of time travel, but we rewind all the way back. So thinking about the quarterly assessment results that we come and present, right? If we're talking about direct comparison, apples to apples, that's the best thing that we have to be able to indicate what this is going to end up looking like. So we're talking about performance on SOLs or end of course. That monthly component is much more standards-based, much more how they're responding to instruction being provided day over day. Quarterly assessment results, if you're really looking for that direct comparison, that's the piece that I'm going to direct you to more so than anything else, right? What I want to see on those monthly reports and what you're referring to with this Are students responding to instruction? Are they growing? Are they moving forward? Do we anticipate them to perform better at the end of the year than they did in the previous year? And on the whole, our students did. So when you look at those percentages of students that demonstrated progress in standards month over month, that's a very close correlation to where we ended up with students that demonstrated growth on the SOL, students that performed better this year than they did the
So
previous
it's really
year.
more of a growth indicator and not an indicator of who or what percentage of our students are going to actually pass the SOL, but which of our students are actually growing.
How our students are responding to those standards, yes, sir, and that instruction that's being provided.
Mm-hmm.
Those quarterly assessments updates, the benchmarks, that's going to be your better apples to apples, maybe is the way to say it, comparison.
I'm just concerned that when we're doing these type of standardized testing, are we really providing the rigor that we need so that we're not getting false positives along the way, so that when the kids get the real SOL, they're not seeing something that's way more challenging than what they're used to on a regular basis in the classrooms.
Well, and it's not a coincidence that our most closely correlated data was in English language arts, where we do have that HQIM onboarded. So we do expect that to start to catch up in regards to exactly what you're talking about, the rigor of those assessments and ensuring there's consistency of that across all of our classrooms.
Okay.
All right.
Ms. Justice?
Yes, Mr. Neighbors, so
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at the mastery of learning, and I would presume that the green column, that would be our pass rate, correct? Would you say?
What are you looking
Would
at,
be,
ma'am? I'm sorry.
The masters of learning, the green, yellow, red. So when I compare the green to the report we just got,
Ms. Justice, 1 second. So we're all talking the same thing. Are you
Yeah.
talking about the monthly mastery of standards?
Yes.
That's what I just asked him about.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, so, but I believe what I heard was that when you were looking at that monthly report, you were looking at the yellow and green and kind of combining.
No, I was looking at the whole thing conclusively, but I was saying that my expectation would be that you would get a fraction, right? That you would get all the green, and the expectation is some of the yellow would pass, right? You don't expect all of yellow. They're in the middle because we don't know.
And that's
Right.
what I think that's what I'm seeing. So when I look at the presentation here, and I go to the English reading in third grade, we have 67%. And if I looked at the monthly report that we got, I think in May, it has 21%. So to me, that 67% is reflecting like an additional 45% that were in the orange that moved over. Is that correct? Am I interpreting that correctly?
Not exactly. So the monthly report really is oriented towards response to instruction, how are students doing in regards to mastery of those standards. So what I would expect to see on that report, if I have 70 students that are in that green and yellow, 70% in that green and yellow section related to standards mastery, standards acquisition, I would expect to have some similar correlated data to students that are demonstrating growth, right? So it's not necessarily an apples to apples piece, but it shows us how our students are progressing, how they're responding to instruction, and whether or not they're making progress, which to me would then relate to how they're going to make progress on that SOL.
So the mastery of learning, right, the green, yellow one, monthly report, April. This one was for April. That's not evaluating content. That's just evaluating growth.
That is evaluating how students are responding to the content and what they're doing with what they're being taught.
All right, that's sounding confusing to me. I'm like,
gotcha, okay.
I'm like, so does this 21% say that 21% of the students have the content mastered? Or is it saying that 21% are moving towards that goal?
That means that 21% of standards have students that are consistently demonstrating mastery. They have those locked up.
And then the test, not the framework that we just got, that is content plus growth?
No growth in the data
No
I presented
growth,
tonight.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yeah. And again, I know there's a lot of different data sets and all the pieces. I'm always happy to schedule time and go through in depth. We are self-proclaimed data nerds down there in the office, so we're always happy to talk about some data and whatever we can do to try to clear it up. I know there's quite a bit that goes into that. All right, so very quickly, just kind of going through some emerging themes. We've already discussed a few of these this evening, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're really kind of tracking school by school, even grade level by grade level. We want to know how we can support down to that granular level, but also seeing plenty in regards to what we're seeing division-wide. Student growth continues to pop as a emerging theme, even talking to administrators here this week and those we've got coming up here next week. A lot of that we are able to directly connect to how HQIM is being implemented, especially and obviously in that ELA area. So looking forward to math coming on board, we know that's going to be an impact. We would just want to see that continue to be a primary focus and how we're supporting teachers moving forward. Intervention and retakes, and put those together. Intervention is throughout the year. How are we making sure we're meeting individual student needs and seeing the results of that? We can draw a lot of lines between how some of our student groups performed in certain schools and the level of intervention they had from staff throughout the year, how that was targeted in our PLC meetings, the data that was being looked at, and so some very promising and encouraging trends related to that. Chronic absenteeism is probably one of our biggest markers. So everywhere we saw chronic absenteeism come down, we saw student performance come up. I think everybody can look at me and say, well, obviously, if we have students in school, they're going to be able to perform better. They're getting that instruction. But that means our staff are working hard to make sure those hours are meaningful for them. They're not just there. They're getting what they need when they are in the building. And that's an important thing to continue to reinforce with our families, with our students, and staff in particular. Behaviors of concern is also coming up as an emerging theme in our conversations, not just with administrators, but with staff as well. Continue to work with Dr. Smith and the rest of our team to make sure we have supports in the right places to mitigate the impacts. We do have impacts for individual students, but also for certain classes. How can we make sure that we can prioritize supporting them, but also ensure that students are receiving what they need from an instructional standpoint? The last piece I'll note, whether it's from the division level or our embedded coaches and other supports that we have, saw a direct correlation there where we had those supports in place. We were able to maximize those, work with staff, support them in the ways that they needed to be able to make that progress move just even a little bit further. So some good themes there that we're looking at, some things we continue to dig into. A lot of this is guiding our work for the coming year and making sure we have all of our resources in the right place. All right, so like we discussed last time, we do anticipate data release in the fall, September. If we are lucky, probably into October. We'll learn about federal identification during that time. Data analysis is ongoing. We continue to meet with administrators. We'll be meeting with school teams as those folks start to come back here at the end of July and early August. And we'll continue to make sure that we have our resources allocated appropriately to meet those needs as they're identified in collaboration with our building teams. All right. Happy to answer any other questions the board might have.
Or any questions? I think we're done.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a quick break. Dr.
Right. So next, that was under Mr. Neighbor's part. I'll tee this up a little bit. So we sent you some information on the retention policy, which included a lot of data, not only retention, but we looked at some grades and also SOL scores. So we shared the data with you regarding the retention statistics as well as the course failures, SOL failures. We're in the process of reviewing our current policy, ILA, and the regulation related to promotion and retention. At this time, I feel it's imperative that we review our current practices regarding summer school attendance as the first step in this process. Mr. Neighbors and I had some discussions over the last few days, and in looking at this data, we definitely, some of the glaring things that you'll see in there is that we have some students that didn't do so well that were not in summer school. So I feel like putting some more teeth, if you will, into our procedures and practices to place students in summer school would be one of the first steps, and we will discuss that with principals. So, Mr. Neighbors, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, there's a number of different things as we're looking at that data set. To me, one of the biggest kind of stark pieces is looking at how students performed on the SOL and the correlation to how they performed with grades and courses, and continuing to unpack a little bit of that dissonance as well. Why are we seeing that lack of connection? As you'll notice, those numbers are significantly higher So we have a lot more students that pass courses and didn't pass SOLs than the opposite. I think really being able to reinforce procedurally with our school-based team, with administrators, to be able to make sure that we're identifying those students early on. We start talking about retention. We start talking about support very, very early in the calendar, ensuring that we're doing everything we can do to support them and how they're looking at that and making those determinations. But of course, I agree with Dr. Hoden. I think there's some pieces that we need to look at more globally, procedurally from a division standpoint to make sure that we're supporting students, supporting those school teams that are making determinations in a better way.
So I would ask that you, again, look over the actual policy ILA and get us any questions or comments on that, and we can revisit that at a later date and give us a little bit of time over the next month or so to revisit the regulation as well and bring you some changes that we would foresee for next year.
All right, so I will say first, I was the one that asked for this data. It's kind of been a thing for me, since I came on the board and thinking about retention. And, obviously my desire is not to hold kids back, but to ensure that they are being properly educated before they just moved on to the next level, right? Because it's very difficult for you to be in 10th grade and you're on a 6th grade reading level, all right? And so it's obviously one of my concerns. My first question that I have, and I shared this with you earlier, Dr. Hoden, is, looking at what we have, the report you sent us, are we following our current policy and regulations as it stands today? Because I know we need to update it, and I agree with that 100%. We need to put some more teeth in it. But my question is, are we following what we have in place today?
Yeah. So procedurally, the answer to that is yes. In practice and where we're ending up with students, there are some holes there that we need to be able to evaluate and rectify. So much of it rests on school teams, administrators being able to make sure we've identified those students. There's a lot of support that's provided to make sure that data is readily available. We don't need to.
Okay, so my question, and I don't mean to cut you off.
Please, that's okay.
But my question is you're saying we're following our policies. Our current policy regulation says that the final decision rests with the administrator, the principal.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Right? And so when I'm looking at the data you provided, students with Fs in all core, 19 total, and I'm not going to read the breakdown because people may be able to figure it out, right? But some of those are elementary, some are middle, some are high. Now, I understand in high school, right, they fail because they fail English.
Right.
And so they're retained in that grade level until they can pass that. But you're telling me in elementary and middle, how many of those were actually retained? And how many did the principal decide that they just need to be promoted?
Yeah, that's a specific breakdown we're trying to get for you right now. Those are the conversations I'm having with administrators, still in that process of collecting some of those data components, but I want verification. So it goes beyond just consideration. Do we have referrals? Were there concerns? Are there other things that we were doing throughout the year to try to support these students?
And that's what I'm getting at, right? Is was there really any conversation, right? So no decision is not a decision, right? So to say the policy was followed, but an administrator or principal never actually made a decision, but just let the kids be promoted, that's not following the policy. That's somebody not doing their job. And that's why when you said yes, I kind of gave you the weird look, if you noticed that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to make sure, whether it's this policy or any policy, as the administration, you guys have to enforce that 100%. And if it's not what you want, then bring it to the board. We can adjust it and change it like we're going to do with it at this point, right? Because it needs a lot more teeth. Because there is zero reason that a kid who fails 2 of the core classes doesn't attend summer school or any remediation and still moves on to the next grade. That is 100% failure on our part. okay? And I can't be any more clear on that. And that is what's got to change, and it's going to change. And I don't mean to be forceful or angry sounding when I talk about this, but I am extremely passionate about it. And we are doing a disservice to our students, to our community, when we just continue to push these kids, and to the kids themselves, when we just push them from grade level to grade level and never really meeting their needs. Our logo is every child, every day. You can't say that if you're just pushing them along to the next grade level, because you're not equipping them to what they need. So with that being said, board, I would really like for you to take a deep dive into that policy. I really want us to look at putting some teeth in it. And again, I don't want us to retain every kid, but I think there has to be some way that if they don't come to some type of remediation, if they don't participate in summer school, they're held back. I don't care what the principal says, right? So some form of mechanism that provides a way that we can ensure that those kids are getting some type of additional instruction that they need in order to move along to the next grade. So, and again, I apologize. I'm very adamant about it, but it means a tremendous amount to me. So I'll open up to the rest of the board for discussion.
Go ahead.
Ms. Ligon?
No, I was just going to ask a question or two, since we've been talking about this before. Did something occur some years ago? The reason we don't retain, I can't put my finger on it. There was some, a reason that we didn't keep kids in grades constantly. I just can't remember what it was. Do anybody know what I'm talking about? We started promoting them.
Is it graduation rates?
Yes, maybe. Or was it age? I'll have to look it up. There was something out there. I just can't, I don't want to elaborate, but there was a reason. I don't say we pushed everybody through this failing, but there was a reason. 40 years ago, you failed. I remember some people that's my age and they didn't graduate with me. Okay, that's neither here nor there, but I'm just making an idea here. So there was a time that you were not promoted. In fact, you used to get on the back of your report card, not promoted in all these scenarios. But then something changed in about 10 years after that. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a state thing that said, no, we're not going to keep you in the 5th grade for 2 years. I didn't say it's right or wrong. But let me ask this. That's one point. Right now, though, as far as summer school is concerned, if a student is failing courses, who is notified? Who is making the suggestion of summer school?
Well, the very strong suggestion that all comes from the school. So we work with the school to make sure they have all that data. We actually produce lists if they need that, make phone calls up here if they ask us to. We always ask for that to start at the school level, making sure they're getting that direct contact from teachers, direct contact from administration, not just encourage, but tell them that's where they need to be and participating in summer
But at
school.
the end of the day, it's still a parent decision, right? Is that where we are? I mean, if you don't want your child to go to summer school, they don't send them, right?
It is. In those situations, we work with the parent to figure out an alternative, and we are very vocal about that with our families. If for whatever reason they decide they simply can't, we've actually been very accommodating over the years. So if I can't come to all 3 weeks, all 4 weeks, well, let's come to what you can come to, and we'll figure out the rest. We provided materials to go home. We provided teachers to check in with students. We always try to accompodate wherever possible.
Yeah, well,
they
I
need
mean,
to work
I'm not
with-
justifying it. I'm
Yeah.
on the other side of it, saying that we're not trying to do everything we possibly can on this. I'm talking about summer school right now. So it used to be thought that if you're failing, you'll go to summer school for remediation. And you're saying that that's kind of lippy-loppy now by choice, because it's by choice, right?
Yeah, you're not incorrect that there is a lot of parent choice, and I think there should be in some of those situations. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to get that student through the door for summer school.
And then, other than summer school, and it kind of goes along with everything, I've asked this sometime when I'm having students in discipline. It's written and it's in policy and it's sent home and it's on the walls of the whole world that we have remediation. Am I right? After school, during school, pull out in all these scenarios.
Yes, ma'am.
That's different terminology. And yet, we still might see somebody gets by with failing. I mean, that's happening. you know.
Absolutely.
And I may ask the question, I have asked it to a student or to a parent, how did you get all these Fs? And now we just caught it. But it's not 6 weeks now, it's 9 weeks assessment. So let's say the student has failed for 2 9 weeks in a row, what happens? Somebody intervenes, don't they?
Yes, ma'am, well before they fail for 2 9 weeks.
Yeah, let's
in a
say
row.
one, let's say
Yeah.
1 9 weeks, somebody intervenes. Who is that?
So depends on the school, depends on the
Okay,
level.
let's say
we're talking about.
elementary, 5th grade.
Yeah, for elementary, especially at the elementary, if we have students that are demonstrating failing grade, we're talking about a number of different layers that can come into play. So that can include all the way up to and including IST, which is that intervention and support team, to be able to review what's going on. A lot of times that starts between the administrator and teacher. What is it that's happening? Are there extenuating circumstances? Is there something we can do to support the family with what might be going on? A lot of different layers we look at, probably more so than elementary than anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, I was just making this statement because I too don't like the process, but we've done all we can. We've offered, maybe we haven't done, we've offered every possible solution. But I still think it rests on the parent, guardian, that says, hey, I need for you to stay after school, or I need to get you in remediation during school, or you're going to go to summer school.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what else. It's 2 different subjects about the passing, but I don't know what else we can do on that side of it.
Yeah, I think there's always more we can do. I
Really?
think
What would that
I'll
be?
put it that
You'd have
way.
to go home with them.
I think continuing to make sure that we are communicating as much as possible, we're putting every available resource in front. I never like to make assumptions to that, and honestly, my answer to Mr. Childress earlier was just that. I want to see the proof in the pudding. Show me that we took all these steps. Show me that we did the things that we need to. There's a certain amount of data that I can pull up here. I always, especially when I'm speaking to the board, I want to know for sure that we took every single step possible to make sure that student had
And I'm
what
just
they
helping
needed.
you with that. I'm not taking up for you.
No, I'm with you. Yes,
But
ma'am.
I'm saying
Yeah.
that we all are concerned with, I don't want to quote my age. Years ago, I said the word growth didn't mean a lot. It means something to me, and it doesn't. I mean, I made a 50 on my test, and now I made a 51. So you applauded for growth. But what growth was that? I mean, maybe that's positive and maybe it's not. So I think sometimes we have to look at that word growth and see that it is good to see those numbers, but we have to realize that that wasn't a tremendous jump, not for the individual student. And I mean, that's all. I just really was asking about the summer school. Are we talking about that later, or can I ask that now?
Which part is that?
Summer school.
Yes, ma'am. So Dr. McGinnis.
Did we have good attendance?
We had good attendance.
Was it remediation type attendance, or was it babysitting attendance?
It was remediation, ma'am. All instructional hours this year. Yeah. Dr. McGinnis
would
will be
not
coming
know,
back in
but anyway.
August. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And when do you really, speaking to what, I'm through after, speaking to what Chair said, when do you really know that summer school for that particular student helped?
So we already have that data. School teams already have that data. Looking at the impact there, we're pulling all that together to really be able to have a nice, clean presentation to bring to the board on it.
No, not
That's already
that,
gone
not
out.
that kind of presentation, but for Joey, no, that's not good, that's the principal.
That's,
For a little kid named somebody, Mikey,
yep.
how do you know the summer school helped Mikey when he goes back in
Yeah, so
August?
those metrics that we use in regards to what we are specifically targeting with that remediation in summer school, and I'll continue to use Joey. When Joey came in, where were they with these skills? We do that pretest and then look at the post-assessment. Did we actually make growth in those areas that were identified?
All right.
Mr. Neighbors, how many students
sir.
did we invite to summer school as opposed to how many actually attended?
We'll have to look at that for you just to make sure I'm giving you the right numbers. It's been a minute since I looked at that, sir. So.
But is it a safe assumption to say the number that actually took us up on the invitation was much less than the number that we invited?
It was less. It would not have been much less. And I'll go ahead and give a plug for Dr. McGinnis here. He spent a tremendous amount of time on the phone, even did some visits to make sure students were coming to summer school. So we ended up with a little bit higher than we were initially expecting, but not 100% for who we invited. No, sir. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Ms. Justice.
Thank you. So I think what I'm hearing is that, you know, it used to be, or even is now with my kids, you know, if you don't achieve a certain level in this area, then you have two options. You're going to have to go this way to improve it, or you're going to have to go this way. If you choose not to cooperate with either one, you do not get to go forward in this objective. So my experience was that as far as summer school, it was an intensive that was there to help our students that were not making it. And so I think what I'm hearing is a need for us to follow up on that, okay? You failed 2 semesters. If you don't take advantage of the tutoring, if you don't take advantage of the tutoring 50% of the time, you're going to have to go to summer school. If you don't go to summer school, you're not going to be able to participate in this or that, and you're going to have to be retained. And I think that's the type of teeth that Mr. Childress may be talking about. So I think you guys are doing a lot, and the parents have to make the choice. But if the consequences aren't such that they're motivating parents to make certain their kid is getting in there, or even the kid, like in discipline, there have been those that have been in discipline, they're failing, their behavior is awful, they're still on a team somewhere. And it's like, how is that happening? That's a privilege, it's not a right. And so I think we're like, how do we get back to basics on that? Choices have consequences, so.
And I think if I may, very quickly, it's a lot of the answer that I gave earlier. Yes, I agree, and I think there are things we can do from a policy standpoint to be able to enhance what that looks like. We continue to have to be reflective and make sure we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing to make those opportunities available for students as well. So I want to continue to be transparent about that piece of it. There's always going to be ways that we can lean better into what we already have in place. More will be welcome in regards to having more automatic or the teeth component that we've been talking about.
Saunders?
Mr. Neighbors, I don't remember, what's the schedule for summer school, like the hours wise? Is it
So we were,
half day or?
it was half day in the morning this year.
See, that to me makes it very difficult for working parents to try, because my kids, they didn't drop them off at my driveway. I had to meet them at the bottom of 29. And so if I was lucky, I sent my kids to summer school because they didn't have a choice. And, but I could get off work and drive down there and pick them up, or I had the babysitter. I think we have to realize that as a working parents, that's a little difficult. And so looking at that, it may not be that they didn't want to, they may not have had the option to. So I just think we need to be remembering that.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, but I think, when you hear stories of, well, I'm not sending my kid to summer school because we're going to be on vacation that week.
That's different.
Right. So I think as we look at crafting the policy, I think we need to certainly, leave some flexibility. But at the same time, I think we need to put the teeth in there that it really forces the parents that you got to be a parent, right? And choose what's best for your kid. And it may not be sending them on vacation when they need to be learning. So.
They're trying to hold a job down to pay the electric bill. That's another story too.
Exactly. Right.
Well, I think you're right. I think there are all kind of variations to what can happen. That's why I said that. I mean, the division is with assistance from policies, doing all you can, but at the end of the day, it's the individual home. You're right. Getting them to summer school and getting them back. Get the why. I'm not sure. I can look at that. How is that helping with, can they leave summer school and get into the Y in the middle of the day? Probably not. And so it's just life now. There are obstacles. Even in the afternoons, we might provide a bus for activity bus and to take them home after remediation. And I've met people who don't know that, even though it's written. So I think we're trying to do the best we can from an education standpoint, but there are real life circumstances. Especially, I used to question summer school for half a day. It sounds good. What is it, 8 to, what is it?
8 to 11:30, 12. Yeah, right in there.
Well, time you get them quieting down and we got to go home. Just being real, not high school. So I think it's less. But anyway, it's good information.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Still got me for a couple more bullets this evening. Wanted to give a couple updates on federal monitoring. So some good news here. We were officially dismissed from our monitoring, our corrective action plan related to Title 6B. As the board will recall, there weren't a significant number of findings with that. It took a long time to get a response. We submitted most of that data the better part of a year ago. Finally got our letter here in just the last couple of weeks, and you have a copy of that in board docs. Something we just got today that Dr. Hoden was able to forward me in regards to the same, thinking about Title 6B. We have been determined to have low fiscal risk, so they won't be coming in and auditing us from a financial standpoint, which I think I heard an audible whoop coming out of Ms. LaConch's office earlier today when we saw that particular email. But great work in our finance office with our folks out in schools to make sure we're in a good spot with that. We also have some updates for Title I. I'll let Ms. Wheeler share those with the board.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So as Mr. Neighbors said, during the 25-26 school year, we also went through federal monitoring for our Title I and our Title III programs in January and March. ACPS received 0 findings in their Title III audit, and so we anticipate a letter recognizing that in the next couple of weeks specific to that audit. During that time, we did receive a finding, 2 findings actually for Title I, specific to teacher qualifications and notification to families of those qualifications. And so we submitted today to the Virginia Department of Education our corrective action plan outlining our updates to those processes and expect that those action steps will satisfy those requirements. I believe you have information regarding that corrective action requirement, but happy to answer questions if you have any.
Board, any questions?
I was just going to go lounge singer for my last section here. Right. All right, the last piece on my agenda this evening is our monthly Medicaid report. You'll see those interim claims continuing to go up, which is positive. That's the one we really want to emphasize and have grow as much as possible. We are in between other claiming, so haven't seen increases in our quarterly claim. Again, costs that won't occur for quite some time, but just wanted to bring that update to the board as we do every month. If there are no questions, that's it for me.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, moving on. 7-0 administrative. I have several updates for you. So construction. If you have not been by the high school in the last few days, I encourage you to drive by the new front parking lot, the entire front parking lot, the entire junior lot, the senior lot, and Lancer Lane from about the cafeteria back is all new pavement. We are also working on right there around the auto shop and the back of the cafeteria. We encountered a few little minor details this week, such as we were going to put a new drain in there because that's a pretty flat area. And when they went to excavate that, where the drain from the inlet was going to be was exactly in the middle of the water line that was going into the school. So we had to punt on that one, and we're going to have to make some adaptations to the water line because we can't make the adaptations to the other line because obviously water only flows downhill. So we are working on that. So that is the paving at the high school. The welding lab, they have made some serious strides in there, especially just the last few days. It looks fantastic. The booths are in. The plumbers are putting the piping in now for the gas, and that is coming along nice. We had a few wrinkles in the culinary lab with the grease trap. We're working through those, and hopefully in the next few days we'll have those. And then the ag lab is doing well. Right now that's all the equipment stored in the ag lab, so that's kind of at a pause, but that equipment is being ordered and that's expected to be up and running. The lower CT hallway, we went ahead and we had to redo that entire hallway, and that's going to be done probably next week. And that bathroom that was just a cubby down there will have 5 toilets and the sinks, just like the new bathrooms that we have near the auditorium, and that will be open right there before school starts. So lots going on this summer there. The paving, again, looks wonderful. If you get a chance to drive by there, it looks fantastic. So just wanted to give you updates on the construction. The cell phone tower at Manellison is paused. Right now, there's some regulations that the contractors have in July that they couldn't do some things that needed to do. It's kind of a long story. It's actually a little funny. It deals with bats, but they have to pause until August at some point in time.
The long-eared, long-eared bat.
Yeah, they're, so, anyway, but they are, we're all there. And then I have some information on the Amherst Middle Gym. So our architect did do some preliminary sketches on that, and the cost of that would be approximately $6 million. So I know that that's probably not going to happen in the meantime. So we have some suggestions. I have made some suggestions to the Amherst Middle School administration, which would be for the larger games that we expect, larger crowds. We can get with the high school and possibly play those games there until we maybe figure out some different things for the overcrowding.
Yeah, and I think the community needs to know that we heard the concern about how small that space is, and obviously we want to address it the best we can. I think there are many who would love for us to say we're going to build a new gymnasium. But the reality is we just can't. We're having difficult time with budgets as it is, and trying to push forward a $6 million renovation. It would be a very tall ask, and I just don't think it would be the appropriate thing to even consider asking the board of supervisors for that.
Right. Questions on construction or anything that I've outlined in those items yet? All right, so again, if you're driving around, go up to the high school, the pavement does look fantastic. Next, at your place, you have a red line version of policy JGD. The proposed changes would allow for more latitude for scheduling discipline hearings and alleviate the need for discipline committee to convene for first offenses. This is the same proposal that was brought to you last fall. And if you'll look, it's really only item 4, which I did outline with our discipline committee today, which would allow me to meet with those first offenses only. The more serious offenses we would still bring to the entire committee. So if it's a purview of the board, if you'd like to discuss or approve the changes this evening, or we can bring it back for further discussion in August. So if you have any suggestions for that, let me know.
I am all for this. This takes up a lot of the disciplinary meetings time, and if we follow procedure, I don't see where, to me, it's a no-brainer. I know a couple of you, one of you's looking at me, giving me the stink eye, but I'd like to see this pass. So that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, so what I will say is, again, discipline is one of my big issues. And when I say that, it's about ensuring that we are actually doing discipline. That is probably one of the number one complaint that I hear from teachers. That students are not behaving, they get sent to the office, and they're right back in the class. And here it is, you're trying to teach 20-something kids, and you got one unruly kid and so it's no wonder, we can't, do better in testing if that's taking place in our classes. So I think for me, I'm in agreement with Mrs. Saunders that for those simple, we're going to follow our matrix. I don't know that the school board needs to be involved in that unless there's an appeal from the parent.
Correct.
But, so I think certainly when we talk about adding teeth into policies, I think, we certainly need to look at our discipline policies as well, and ensure that we are treating everybody fairly, but at the same time, making sure that we are actually providing the level of discipline that's going to help reduce the amount of disruption that's taking place in our classrooms so that our teachers can actually teach.
And I think that needs to be looked at an elementary school level. I think that that needs to be reevaluated. I think that that's where it sort of starts, and then we let it continue, because that's where the teeth are missing, in my opinion, is in the elementary school level. So maybe reevaluating that. Like me to make a motion?
Well, no, I'm not the odd person out on this. There's two discussions here, really, so we need to clarify behavior and discipline, two different things in the context we're talking about tonight. The behavior in the classroom, I agree, teacher management of the classroom and all that, I'm not going there. We're talking about those who are sent to us for various things, vaping, profanity, fighting, weapons, et cetera, et cetera. And that happened, and then I think it is good when they come to see us, because every now and then, it might just scare them into never doing it again. However, it could be time-consuming. I don't look at it that way, because when I look, I'm not going to go against it. When I look at my time in discipline, I take it seriously. I look at the offense, so you were vaping. I sometimes want to know why. I then see your grades, and I want to talk to you about that. I see that you might tell me some things that we didn't know. I might see some family issues that we can refer you on to someone else, which he can do that as well. So I just wanted for the record that when I see a student in discipline, and I even look at this thing at night before I come, I'm very serious about what I need to do with them. Some things are clear slam. You bought a gun, poof, gone. The other things I need to talk to you about, and then see what we can do with them and the parents. But I'm not against small infractions of the rules being given to the superintendent, assistant superintendent. Do you have the time to do these sort of things? I was looking at that, a lot going on, construction, and whereas we're split up in quarters, aren't we? I mean, we have half here, half there. But, if the board thinks that that's a waste of our time, not a waste. If the board thinks that it can be done differently, then I'll go with it. But we tried this one time before. This is what happens when you're old, it's a hillside. We tried this, and then parents wanted to appeal the thing. So we had to come anyway. But which policy is that? What number is it?
JGD.
What's all these numbers? G who?
JGD.
JG. I got it right here, but so what do we want to do with it?
This section here.
Yeah, what do you want to
Section
do with it? Okay, what do you want to do?
So if it would be to the board's approval, we would change that where I would be the one that meets with. And so the other thing that it would do is that it would also allow for parents that maybe work third shift. I could maybe meet with them at 7:30 in the morning, or I could meet with them at lunchtime, or I would get with the principals. So it would allow some of that fluctuation with the parent as well. Sometimes it's a burden for them to come at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So I would be a little bit more flexible with the parent, and then I would treat them just like the board members do, and with all the questions, just like I do in SAC, or like I ask in the policy. So it would be, again, for those first offenses, the ones like tonight, they would come to you. And of course, if they appeal the suspension, then yes, they would come to you. So, I would like to see you change it, at least try it for a year. And if we want to go back, we would. And just so you know, I did talk to Dr. Shepard, and she's in favor of this as well.
Of what?
Changing the policy to allow me to do it.
It's fine.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes, sir.
so in these, I guess, lesser offenses, you're talking something that you're present for whether the board's there or not, you're still present for them. So it doesn't change your schedule at all.
No, sir, does not.
But the offense, I guess the punishment or whatever you want to refer to it as, the referral part of it, are we looking at things that are like, 10-day suspension or less?
So, no, what you're looking at is you'd be looking at like the first offense THC vapes, which is, in practice, we've tried to let the student go through Horizon and then return to school after the 10 days. It'd be those ones. Any more severe ones like the threats or the, obviously weapons or, we had a situation tonight that the 3 members know about, that would certainly be brought to the committee because that's a much more serious offense and we handle it such.
So you wouldn't handle on your own like expulsion or anything like that?
No, absolutely not, sir. No.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chair?
Justice.
So I'm looking at it. So if the board chose to adopt this, it would mean that someone who has a THC vape or a CBD and alcohol use, if it was their first offense,
Yes, ma'am.
they would go straight to you. I don't know, to me, that's minimizing those offenses. And I think that sends a wrong message. I think marijuana and CBD is a big deal. And I would think, I don't know if you have the numbers of the first-time offenders who don't come back again. And I think there are those that do.
There are.
But I think there's a lot of power in coming before the board. They see you, Dr. Hoden, but they don't see the board very often. And so that's my concern. I don't know that we want to send the message that this isn't as big a deal as we've thought it was.
I wouldn't think that it's not a big deal. I think it's just common practice. If you look at the other boards surrounding, this is the way they do it as well.
I'm not sure that we are the ones that are scaring them straight. I think Dr. Hoden can scare them straight just as much as I can, because, I usually cave in the end anyway. So, these are just procedures that we follow every single one. I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I have yet to have one first timer that we've done something different on. And so to me, I think that Dr. Hoden, if he's willing to do it, give it to him.
It is my job.
So I'll just tell you, so I was the one that originally brought this up to Dr. Oden last year, I think, or
Yes,
whenever.
sir. That's correct.
And it's because I sat in these meetings, and I can tell you, some of these kids, I was ready to throw the book at them.
Yeah.
And time again, I heard, we follow the procedure, it's a first offense. And I'm like, it's a first offense, but you have all these other extraordinary circumstances. Nope, we follow, right? And so if that's what we're doing, I think having Dr. Hoden handle that part, or the administration, designee, whomever, I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think it's diminishing, the act itself. Because obviously we have policies against it, they're being suspended, and, the board certainly we would know about them.
Absolutely.
And if it gets appealed, then it will go to the committee as far as that.
And then any more serious ones, we would still.
Any
convene the
of those
committee.
serious ones,
Yes, sir.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I have no issues with that. And I truly believe that, like I said, especially, one of the ones tonight would absolutely be, and it was very appropriate to bring to the full committee. And I think all 3 of my members tonight would agree that.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
So, in the disciplines that I've seen, I've seen some people end up crying in school board meetings after certain people talk to them. And I believe, like Ms. Justice said, there's a lot of those who do not come back because they've been scared to death. Now, like Ms. Ligon has said, it's reaching those people. But I also get everybody else's point that's consuming a lot of time for something that's just going to be, this is rubber stamp, we know this is what this is going to be. And I'm all for that. But we do have to take into account that we are probably going to miss 1, 2, 3, several of those that we could have, let's just say, made them use a box of tissues and not come back. So,
I'm
food for
good.
thought.
I'm good with it.
Food for thought.
No, I'm good with it. I made my statement, and
That's right.
but I'm good with it. Just know what I said.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you want to change it, I'm not going against it.
So wasn't there a new state law put in effect July 1 that about taking up motions of things that first night or something like that, or? It is,
It's
so we
actually
can do
under-
it, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I just
Ms.
wanted to make sure we
McNerney
weren't
is
gonna.
on the ball on all of this stuff, sir.
Perfect, good.
I just went to that conference, so I know.
Good, well, I remembered it, I just wanted to make sure we were.
And
Well,
she
we weren't
put it
gonna-
on there in case you would like to make that motion tonight and not wait till August.
Oh, with this one?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Settle down, settle down.
Are we ready? I mean,
Yes,
are we still discussing? I make the motion that we adopt the policy JGD
As presented.
as presented.
We have a motion?
Second.
And we have a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Okay. So it's a 4-2.
But I'm happy. You got to say what you got to say.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Oh, wait.
All right, finance.
Oh, finance.
All right, Ms. Lukanich need anything?
Nope.
Again, I would like the board to recognize her and her team's work for the other. I know she's going to hit me in the back of the head for saying that again, but she did a great job on that. So being that she doesn't have anything, we'll turn it over to HR.
All right, Mr. Chair, members of the board, the first item up for us this evening is the vacancy memo for the month, just outlining the current vacancies for the coming year. Worthy of note, we're very active, so things change quickly. So 4 of those positions have been hired since it was posted Friday, and 12 of the positions listed either have interviews scheduled or offers that are out or being made tomorrow. So it's a very active time. There are quite a few left there, and there's some areas of concern because there are a few candidates, but we are working hard to try to get as close to fully staffed by beginning of the school year as possible.
Mr. Gallagher, could you share with us which of the ones have been filled?
I can do that, yeah. So so what you see there is Temperance has an elementary teacher position that's filled. Madison Heights had 2 elementary teacher positions. One of those is filled. So right now we have 2 vacancies left for elementary teacher, one at Madison Heights, one at Central. Both of those are the new positions. And we have interviews set for tomorrow with 2 teachers that are qualified that hopefully we can get that filled. So those were 2. The Director of Special Education, as you're aware of this evening, has been filled. The school secretary position at AEC has been filled. And there are 12 other positions noted where we have very viable candidates in the mix.
Board, any question on that?
Good work.
Thank you, sir. It's a lot of work.
It
It's
is a lot of
it's not
work.
easy in the summer. It's a lot to go through and to put all these panels together, to do the interviews, and it's not an easy process. And so I want to say thank you to you and your team for all the work and effort that you put into that. I do have a question as far as the ones leaving. Have you guys had an opportunity to look at the data for the exit surveys and?
Yes. So the exit survey information has been provided to plan forward, and they've created basically the data and the results of that, which have been shared with us. It's also been broken down by school. It's part of the data that we're using at the leadership conference, that along with satisfaction survey and schools' individual surveys, because part of the work we do with them is to triangulate the different perceptions, the different reasons, the different things that are going on, what we can impact to change those things moving forward. And there's a lot of positives to it as well, but there's always areas of challenge as well. So it allows them to work in teams, and we walk them through how we can actually change those things, and satisfaction, if that's the case, reasons why people leave. Although a lot of them have been for money, advancement, moving, a lot of those things. we want to look at it in total to make sure we're addressing all of the issues that we have. And we know in education, it's a hard job, and we always have room to grow and continue to support all of our, not only teachers, but all of our educators in the division. So we do have
we
information.
lost quite a few teachers to Nelson this year.
We did, into Albemarle and some different areas and so forth. And some of those were more money in the pay band, depending on where they were. A lot of those were later in the pay band. So we lost experienced teachers and some of our mentor teachers.
Right. And
there
that's what I'd
as well.
heard is that essentially they were going to Nelson, Albemarle, because of the way, for those that don't understand it, VRS, their retirement is based off of their last 3 years, or sorry, their highest 3 years,
correct.
right? So not just the last, but the highest 3 years. So if they can move to Nelson or wherever and get a $10,000 pay increase, well, that dramatically affects their retirement if they can keep that for 3 years.
Yeah, I've had personal conversations with some amazing individuals who really love working here, but that is, in fact, the reason that I understood. And I think that the efforts that you began to make earlier in the evening to kind of adjust some of those bands is actually going to help a lot. I mean, it's hard to compete in certain areas with Nelson, but across the whole region, again, as long as they all stay stable in their pay bands, that's going to help a lot.
But the good news for us is, unless they change it, Nelson was doing a 0% increase this year, which is not good for their people, but it's good for us because that means we're catching up to them.
Well, it's not uncommon either in the scope of things over time for people to leave and then to come back when they realize the difference in who we are as well, and that does matter also. So.
On to exciting times. Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. What you have in front of you are the schedules for new teacher orientation and all the excitement that will be happening during that time frame as we meet new hires and people who will be and develop them to Team Amherst. It is an extensive, very elaborate schedule encompassing instructional, HR, operational, as well as student services, PD that will be offered, as well as induction to get people on board and feeling really confident about what they'll be doing in their new roles in our division. You also have the schedule for Employee Work Week, which is when all the teachers will be returning, and that is a much longer schedule. It's broken down more by departments and very strategic with what the departments will be offering as far as PD for specific groups. I asked Ms. McNerney to put at your desk one more schedule, which is the all-inclusive leadership schedule. Sometimes the building principals want to have something that encompasses everything, and that also includes supports that are going to be given to our secretaries, our bus drivers, cafeteria staff, our new admin, our special education teachers. So that schedule is a little bit more comprehensive, but it does encompass the other two schedules as well. If you have any questions in regards to what they'll be experiencing during those 2 weeks, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Board, any questions?
All right.
We're off the hook.
But don't forget to come to New Teacher Luncheon on that particular Thursday. I think it's the 29th. It will be at Sweetbriar, and we'll be sending reminder information out to you as well as we get closer to the date. Thank you.
All right, so a couple things, board, just some dates to remember, and some of these will be repeat, but that's okay. So next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, is our leadership conference where all our administrators will be together Tuesday and Wednesday, and Dr. Shepard will be here in attendance for that, so I'm grateful for that. First day, Mr. Neighbors and his team were able to secure Dr. Muhammad. That will be one of his two speeches with us to talk about culture, and we'll be discussing a lot of curriculum items and how the principals will proceed next year. So excited for that. And then the August dates, of course, the first day for new teachers is July 27th, which is just around the corner. I think we just talked about the last day of school, but we're already here. So we all know how quick summer goes. And that's at the high school. The new teacher luncheon, which we just talked about, is July 30th, and that's at Sweetbriar Prothrow. We hope we can attend that. We also are going to have Pack the Bus August 1st on Saturday, and I know some of you came last year. We changed the time a little bit after I talked to Art, the manager. We're going to bump it to 10 because I know Mr. Childress and I were there early last year, and it was really slow until about that 10 o'clock window, and then it really pumped up. So we're going to take his advice and change that to 10 to 3 this year. Convocation, August 4th. Breakfast is 7:45 to 9, and I hope you can join that. Division Back to School event, August 10th at ACHS from 5 to 8. And then Transition Day, which is kindergarten, 6th grade, 9th grade, is August 11th, and the first day of school is August 12th. I mean, we're right there. It's hard to believe. So those are just some dates that I want to mention. Any questions on that? All right. Next, I just want to update you on something, and Mr. Childress and I have had an opportunity to chat about this, but I wanted to let you know that it did come through where localities can pass a 1% sales tax for school construction. And I was kind of gung-ho about this and really was hoping to purge forward on that. But after really the webinar yesterday and kind of reading the tea leaves, if you will, so after the vast webinar on the 1% sales tax for school construction, I feel that at this time we need to take a little pause. The runway of this is very short, and we would need to have the referendum in place by August 14th. And I think that asking the taxpayers for an additional 1% on sales tax right now without really getting our why out there would be a mistake, because if it gets shot down, then it would be hard to rebuild that. So early voting starts in September, elections in November. It just doesn't allow us a time to inform our school community and the taxpaying citizens of Amherst our plans for these additional funds. I'd like to propose that we begin discussions with the Board of Supervisors in early spring in 2027, so we have a better time frame to bring this referendum to the table for the 2027 election. And what I would propose for that is we really have a plan. What are we going to use this for? So our folks know this money is going to go to these projects. So they can really have an understanding for that. So I feel like, really trying to push that. I did talk to Mr. Bryant this morning. He agreed. He's had some conversations with the Board of Supervisors. And so I just wanted to share that with you and Mr. Childress.
So for those of you that don't really know what he's talking about, so prior to this year, localities were not allowed to impose an additional tax like this for school construction projects. There were a handful.
9.
Who worked with the local legislators to get it done within their districts. But the rest of the state, basically, we weren't allowed to do it. And so the state has now opened that up. But in the conversations we've had, is just because it's there and available doesn't necessarily mean it's something that we need to push for unless we have a plan. And so I think before we even really considered asking the Board of Supervisors to put this as a referendum so that the community would vote on it, we need to understand how we would utilize it. And again, it can only be used for school construction projects. It doesn't have to just be new construction. It could be renovation projects, the doors, the windows, those type of things that we've done in the past.
And unfortunately, Northern Virginia can use it for transportation, which would be really nice if we could do that, but
it would be nice if it was apples and to apples, because obviously we could utilize it. If it were the same across the board, then we could use that to shore up our bus purchases to get us on track with that.
Right, that would be amazing.
And
maybe by next year it will change. So maybe by waiting it'll actually be a benefit. So, I think it just would be not a responsible decision to try to push it and not have the support of our not only our school community, but the community. And so I feel like if we really sit down and we can talk about it in next budget season, what we're looking at and have a plan to move forward and really get the word out there that, hey, this is what it's for, this would be the benefit. Mrs. Okonich will be able to have some figures for us of, an approximation of how much money that would be, and it just would give us some more time moving forward, so. Okay. And that is it for me, sir. Yes, sir.
You want us to go back to HR?
No. No, just, sorry about that. 2 points of emphasis just about New Teacher Week. The 27th, which is that first day, you're all invited to that breakfast. It starts at 8 o'clock, and the more of you that can come out, the better. I mean, it's just a great, positive morning, and all of our new teachers are there and present. That will be at the high school, correct? So if you can put that in your calendars for 8:30 on the 27th, and then with the new teacher luncheon, which we already said was the 31st at 12:30, it's going to be a lot. We're bringing the mentors back too, so it's a big group. So I would say plan to get there early, and if you can be there, please do, but you might want to start arriving around.
Mr. Gallagher, I have a question.
There's the 30th? I'm sorry, it's a Thursday, whatever the Thursday is, the new teacher luncheon. I may have gotten the date wrong, so I apologize.
New teacher luncheon's the 30th, July 30th.
And that's the Thursday, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I apologize for the date.
But the new teacher is the July 27th breakfast.
The new teacher breakfast, the first day of new teacher orientation, and then the luncheon on that Thursday at 12:30. But you want to come early to get through the gate because it's going to be a good crowd. So.
Be a big crowd.
But if I come on that day, are you going to sing happy birthday to me?
I will sing happy birthday as long as you agree to give closing comments and take that honor. And I'll actually get up and lead happy birthday for you.
But you gotta wear the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Open house, was it the 11th?
Transition day is the 11th, and first day of school is the 12th. So transition day is when kindergarten, 6th grade, and
Last year, we had the open houses all at
Yeah.
the high school, so that's the division.
that's the division-wide back-to-school event on the 10th. Yeah, that's where folks come, and we'll have
the
some of the
booths-
items that
booths
we
are
got
set
at the Pack the Bus and some other items, and we had the haircuts there last year. We're going to try to set all that up, and that was a wonderful thing. So we're going to try that again. We're just going to not have the same food that we had last year. We're going to try something different.
What we had last year?
The hot dogs that were.
I couldn't remember.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty, so that takes us to committee reports.
Everybody's looking my way.
Right?
That's
Don't
good.
be quiet now.
Oh, I'm not. Don't you know it? I'm getting myself together.
All right, you have to do this in 30 words or less. No,
I
I'm
could
kidding.
probably do it. I just want to say what an awesome program The Way is, and thanks for bringing them forward so that we could see their enthusiasm, and they were just too cute. And what a big shout out to Ms. Harvey, Ms. Wentz. They do an awesome job. The SOLs, I definitely see we're taking baby steps. We're getting there. We still have some room to grow, but I appreciate everyone's hard work. So keep it up. I want to make a plea and a plug for the EDA youth representative. Sorry, I know this is not exactly it, but we have a youth representative just like we do here at the school board, and I am looking for a youth, a rising junior or above to 22. So if you're interested, or if anyone out there in YouTube land, come see me, call me, I got you. I want to give a big thank you to Dr. Hoden for all the work you've been doing as interim. That's a lot, and I want you to know how much we appreciate that. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
everyone enjoy the rest of your summer.
It's almost gone.
Yeah, the STEM Academy didn't meet last month. So I think their next meeting is next month. So I should have some reports from that. And thank you, Dr. Hoden, for everything you have done.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. And Miss Brittany, thank you for everything you do for us. And the rest of the staff, keep up the good work. And let's make the rest of the summer the best.
Thank you. Central Virginia Gov School didn't meet this month. But Dr. Mrs. Douglas has moved to Central Virginia Community College, and so we are going to be hiring a new teacher there. She will be missed, but it's understandable. She's moving on up. So, tonight with the way, I remember the first time I saw Asia, and I've seen her many times over at the school, and she was making me a coffee for School Board Member Appreciation Month. And I got to go to the library, and I got to have that coffee and see that program. And it always has such a sweet spot in my heart. So I really appreciate the continuity of the two teachers that nurture and strengthen that program and those people. And have a great summer. Please be careful and just enjoy the time.
So, yeah, it can't be said enough, the progress that the WAY program has made, and seeing the inspiration that they are to everybody, their achievements. I don't really have a committee. I have had the pleasure of spending some casual time with a lot of teachers and certain staff, and it's good to see them getting that short break, because here we are after
4th of July.
After 4th of July, summer's over, so you guys are gearing up. But honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing this new year start and seeing how things take off. I know we've had some gains last year. We're looking for more. Always looking for more. Never going to stop asking for more. But we do. We want our teachers to enjoy themselves, get that needed break, because we're ready to get our feet back on the ground and keep rolling. So thank you, everybody.
And I echo all of the things that have been said. Dr. Holden and your staff, thank you for carrying us through this transition. And we appreciate everything that's been done by you and Britt and all the people in the central office. We thank you for the song Boots Hitting the Ground situation has been rolling. And for HR, it is a tough time trying to recruit and hire, but you're doing it. So congrats on that. And we could go into midnight about why people leave anywhere. Happens in healthcare as well. 1 minute your doctor's there and then the door's closed. We don't know all the time, but we just try to do the best we can here in Amherst. We just excited. The WAY program, I didn't know what it was officially called, even though I've been knowing the students. So thank you for bringing those young people to us tonight. It was great. Just a footnote there, I was wondering if Sweetbriar might want to get involved. I didn't see their name up there. Whoever is in charge of that, maybe that would be a good idea to say, hey, right here in the doorstep, you want to help us out a little bit, if appropriate. Laurel is quiet right now. We don't meet again until August, but things are well. The VSBA sends you notices all the time. You know what's going on there. We don't have any meetings coming up until November. There is one next week at Virginia Beach, but I'm working. I can't make that one. So things are well. Thank you for all of the information on the SOLs and all. We asked questions, but I liked what was said down there. We're doing baby steps. And you got to crawl before you can walk. So we're going to walk right out to this thing and make it good. And so everybody said, enjoy your summer. I haven't been off yet. I'm in summer school, so when everybody else goes back to school, I'm going to take off. And so CVCC will finish at the end of the month, I hope. And we'll keep everybody informed with that. So thank you for the summer school report. I did see what Dr. McGinnis thanked everybody. So I imagine it was successful. And it's always summer school is summer school, except for me, it's full-time. So thanks, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your hot weather season.
All right, so there's been a lot of discussion this evening. I know we've got a lot of challenges coming up, especially for the new school year. Talked with the chair and a few other members of this committee, and I think maybe it's time instead of only having our silent time at the beginning of our board meetings, that we open up the meeting in prayer. I think that we probably need it more than ever going into everything that's been going on, our recent scores, and the challenges that we face, here in Amherst County. And I think maybe it's time. And I know the Board of Supervisors opens up in prayer, and I think all we need from the board would be consensus. It's not something we actually have to vote on, because it's just something that we can do and bring in. And I don't know if we want to do both a moment of silence as well as a prayer, or just a prayer, or I guess it's something that we need to discuss or not discuss. But I'm looking for a consensus from the board to open up with prayer. And David has assured me that he'll be prepared to open us up in prayer next month if that's what we so choose. Sure. Anybody have an objection to it?
I think it's a neat opportunity for the community also to participate. That would be cool. I like the idea.
So, sounds like I'm seeing heads nodding yes. Okay. All right, then that's how we'll open next meeting.
Thank you, board. And as we head on down into I guess our dog days of summer, right? I mean,
Hopefully they're behind us. But hot.
it's like I got the pool open, water got warm, now we're talking about going to the store and seeing Halloween decorations. Unbelievable. It moves so fast. And I know there's some challenges ahead. A lot of discussion tonight, and I'm trying to process it all. And I understand what Mr. Childers said when he was talking about we were getting data, we were getting fed information, and it looked like everything was moving in a positive direction. And then we see some test data that really didn't correlate very well with us, from this side of the bench. And that's kind of the impression that I got. And I think we both asked the same question. Are we looking at the data correctly? Are we putting forth the right effort to get the information we need that will move our students forward? Are we looking at the right data sets? And I mean, it's great to see progress, but what does that progress really mean? And at the end of the day, our students need to pass, right? They need to get good test scores. So I guess when you're preparing information for the broad public to consume, there's a commercial out there that says, show me the facts, the car facts, because I can go out and buy used cars all day long, right? Knowing that it's been in an accident is probably good information to have versus, oh, it's got low mileage and all the maintenance has always been done on the car, one owner, look at the car facts and say, oh, 17 accidents reported. That's good information to have. It's useful information, right? So that's, I guess, kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for useful information that will give us a better understanding of where we are and that we're going to reach our goals. And as far as, the talk about education and passing students, there was some pretty passionate conversation here, and I don't know what happened to the education system. I remember a time when you could actually fail, and it seems like those days have long since gone, and I don't know if it's tied to graduation rates and funding or what happened, but it seems like, I don't know, it's like this fear, oh, we can't fail somebody. We can't let anybody lose. Well, I lose all the time. I really do. Life is a struggle. It's not fair. And I think that if we can get our students on board, maybe first grade, second grade, third grade, then that student at third grade that's struggling with reading doesn't need extra help fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. And we can spend that money and invest in more teachers instead of that special teacher that's going to be carrying on and doing the reading specialist. We got to figure it out. And I know we're not going to figure it out here tonight in my closing comments, but that's just something I wanted to put out there. And a principal that has the ability to choose whether or not to let a student move on to the next grade or stay behind a year, and he chooses not to make a choice, well, he's made a choice. And if our policy says something different, then we need to hold that principal accountable for it. And maybe that's the teeth we need. Maybe our policy needs to state it, that the principals have to do something, whether it's informing or enforcing, whatever it is. But you're right, we got to give it some teeth. Education is important. Students need to be able to read. And I've heard it time and time again by people all over the county. You know, we got students that can't read, and that's sad. I'm embarrassed by it because I feel responsible for it, because I'm sitting here approving policy, and I still got students out in the county that can't read, but yet they pass. That's got to stop. That's got to stop with us here in this room, everybody. We gotta change that. We gotta make that right. And that's all I have. I'm sorry to get so emotional, but it's been one of those nights.
I appreciate the comments. I think for me, it comes to accountability, right? And setting those high expectations, right? Setting high expectations from the top down, for us to you as the administrative team, from you to your teaching staff, and from your teaching staff to your students. And I was told a story, I don't know if it's true, it was told to me it's true, but there was a high school student, not here, but took the SATs, and was not what you would consider a good student. And got the results, and it was extremely high, almost a perfect score. And so the kid came back, and it's like, oh my gosh. And so the kid started digging in because he didn't think he could do the work. And then started going from low grades to literally being an honor roll student. Months passed, and come to find out, he was sent the wrong scores and actually received a failing score, a low score. And, you know, what that tells me is, you know, it goes to a lot to where that student thinks they are and where we as the teaching staff think they are. And you've heard me say this over and over, you hit what you aim for, right? And so if we set those standards, those expectations up higher, people are going to rise to meet it. They may not meet it exactly, but the higher you set it, they're going to rise to meet it. And I think as a board, we need to do that. And as administration, you guys need to do it. And it's easy for me to sit here and say that. Everybody knows I work in a school system. I'm, you know, the administrator like you guys. I understand it's a lot to the work. It's easy to say it, but when it comes to boots on the ground, it's tough. So I can appreciate and say, with my own experience, the work and effort that each and every one of you put in your various responsibilities. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, you heard how passionate I am about this. I am grateful for every one of you and the work that you do and bring to this. All I ask is that we raise our expectations and hold our people and our students accountable. So thank you guys. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Public comment.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes. So we have an opportunity for public comments. Nobody signed up, but Mr. Porter, I think, wants to come talk to us.
The bat saved the cell tower.
My name is Jeff Porter, 478 Woody's Lake Road, Madison Heights, District 5. A couple of comments. I'm a person who was born and raised in a Navy family. We moved often. So every community I moved in, I was the new kid on the block and didn't know much, had to learn. You have a new superintendent coming on, and I hope you make some very intentional efforts of helping her to get to know the community and the community to get to know her. That's important. you know, you've had the real luxury of being able to have Dr. Wells, who was part of this community, and people knew him. People knew the character, knew the person. You've got to work hard at helping Dr. Shepard to be able to have some entrees into this community, and I would encourage you to do so. Secondly, I am grateful that you are going to be opening your meetings with prayer. I'm an advocate for that. I figure if the House and Senate of our country can open up, we can do that too. We're supposed to be grassroots anyway. But I also think that this is an opportunity to be able to ask pastors or other religious leaders in the community to be a part of opening up in prayer. You want people to come into this meeting, and providing opportunities for that to happen, I think that is one way to make it happen. So any way that I can help, I pastored in this community for 7 years. I know pastors. I am more than willing to help in terms of recruiting, making a schedule, whatever. But thank you for making that happen. I'm proud of what you all do. You all work hard. I'm grateful for your commitment. And Dr. Hoden, good job. Good job. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anybody want to discuss it?
Oh, at least a few more minutes.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.